Hello. The purpose of this presentation is to explain to parents what is a record request and how to make one. The information included in this presentation is for educational purposes only and is not meant to be interpreted as a legitimate source of legal authority regarding special education. This presentation only touches on some of the aspects of special education law and is not meant to be all-inclusive. The purpose of this presentation is to help parents better understand special education law and some of its core components. So why should a parent make a request for education records? A parent or guardian cannot fully participate in an IEP meeting without seeing the documents the school district will be relying on. This is not important for just special education students, but it is important for all children who attend school. So generally, I recommend that all parents of children who are receiving special education services make a records request prior to any IEP meeting or after an incident has taken place at school and the parents want to see how the school district is documenting the incident. In addition, for children who are not receiving special education services, I recommend parents make an annual request to review records to make sure that those education records accurately reflect their child. And understand parents have a right to review, access, and even copy your child's education records. So what is considered part of the education record? Well, the education record are defined under the Family Educational and Privacy Rights Act, also known as FERPA, and it's a simple two-pronged test. In order to be considered an education record, it must contain information directly related to your child, the student, and it must be maintained by an educational agency or institution or by a person acting for such an agency or institution. So practically speaking, what can you ask for? You want to ask for the cumulative file. This should include progress report, report cards, sometimes disciplinary reports are included, statewide standardized assessments, attendance, and so on. You also want to ask for the special education file. This should include IEPs, any amendments or modifications made to the IEP, assessments done by the school district, and additionally any assessments that you have had included in the education record that you have had privately done. The teacher file, which should include teachers' notes and folders, protocols and notes from testing that has been done by the school district on your child, and emails and other correspondence regarding your child. And this just doesn't include emails or letters you have sent to the school, but in addition, any correspondence that has been made between staff members. Also, you want to make sure if the disciplinary records are not included in the cumulative file that you have access to those. Any service logs, and service logs are generally logs that will be taken by, for example, a speech therapist on how often they are going into the classroom and working with your child, the frequency and intensity. And understand, essentially, this is anything written down about your child that is maintained by the school district. It's a very broad definition. There is an exception called the personal memory aid exception. This includes records kept in the sole possession of the maker, which are used only as a personal memory aid and are not accessible or reviewed by any other person except a temporary substitute for the maker of the record. Now, there is a way around this. If, for example, a teacher is relying on a personal memory aid in the context of an IEP or parent meeting to explain a situation or explain why she's recommending making a certain recommendation, well, as such, she is sharing that information and it is being accessible or reviewed by people other than a substitute, and thus it does become part of the education records, and you can get access to it. Additionally, parents should understand they have a right to request that a school district correct records that they believe to be inaccurate or misleading. Understand that schools can charge a small fee for making photocopies of educational records. However, they cannot charge for preparing the records. A way around this, if a family cannot afford the small fee, then the school district must provide those records regardless. And also understand, you can drag in a scanner, and there's lots of other pieces of, technology, cell phones to take pictures that automatically turn the record into a PDF. There's lots of ways that you could get around this. Also understand that all requests to review, access, or get copies of your child's education records must be made in writing in order to evidence when you made the request. And in California, the school has 5 business days to allow you to access your child's education records. For an example on how to write a letter requesting to review your child's education records, please go to coastaladvocacy.com, click on the Learning Center. From there, you should be able to find a link called Advocacy Tools, and we have all kinds of sample letters, one of which should be a FERPA request. It's called a FERPA request. And as always, in closing, a quote from Lewis Carroll: "There is no use in trying," said Alice. "One can't believe in impossible things." "I dare say you haven't had much practice," said the Queen. "When I was your age, I always did it for half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I believed in as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast." Thank you.